did you hear? What did you see that convinced you so thoroughly?
I don't think Father Flynn did anything wrong.
You just want things to be resolved so you can have simplicity back.
Doubt can be a bond as powerful as certainty.
This is a pretty tremendous cast that you've put together. Why did you pick who you picked, and what have they brought to the table?
Well, you know, I was taking my play and turning it into a film, and that's already a great challenge. And I wanted to get people who had real stage chops, the ability to spit out vast quantities of language with great passion at high speed.
Right.
And Meryl and Phil and Amy and Viola all have that ability. So they could form a sort of high-performance ensemble and barrel through and make exciting a kind of ferocious argument that the film presents.
So what do you think, Father? Is there something new we could do?
Well, we all love the Christmas hymns, but it might be jolly to include a secular song.
Secular?
Yes, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, something like that.
What would be the point of a secular song?
That's fun.
Frosty the Snowman.
That's a good one.
Frosty the Snowman espouses a pagan belief in magic. The snowman comes to life when an enchanted hat is put on his head. If the music were more somber, people would realize the images are disturbing and the song are radical.
We're all blessed to have each other. I was very blessed to be in that company. I just love working with Meryl. I really have a great time working with her. And I hope we work together many times in the future. Or not, it doesn't matter, because I just adore her, period, anyway. So at least maybe we'll get to hang out and have coffee and stuff.
Philip works in a different way than I do. I sort of jump in with both arms and legs flailing, and right from the first day, I'm showing you everything, you know? Philip banks his fires very carefully. And when we were in rehearsal, he's just approaching the conflict, and he sort of approaches the fight, but you really have the sense that he's holding everything back, and you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
Right.
You're gonna get it when it happens. It's just
And he gives it. He
excruciating.
really does.
He brings
My
it,
God.
darling. They all did. I mean, all these fantastic.
Did you want to discuss the pageant? Is that why I'm here? Is this what you wanted to discuss?
This.
You know, when you're working with people who you have so much respect for, there's always, you know, you always want to put on, you know, your best face and go in. And, you know, playing Sister James actually made it quite difficult to sort of walk in there with any sort of false confidence or anything false at all. So I sort of came into it as sort of this vulnerable character, and they were amazingly gracious and professional and inviting, and, you know. You just don't like him. You don't like it that he uses a ballpoint pen. You don't like it that he takes 3 lumps of sugar in his tea. You don't like it that he likes Frosty the Snowman, and you are letting that convince you of something terrible, just terrible.
Well, Viola Davis is a powerhouse actress who, you know, the big thing that I needed from her was to remember that in 1964, in this situation, that she would be polite, that she would not simply attempt to get what she wanted and confront the principal of the school. But that would have been wrong for the era. And I think that was the one thing that I had to work with Viola a little bit on, was to get her to remember her manners. And then once she, because that even saying that out loud would make her riled. But when she did that, then the character became truly compelling.
His father don't like him. You come to your school, kids don't like him. One man is good to him, this priest. Then does a man have his reasons? Yes. Everybody does. You have your reasons, but do I ask the man why he's good to my son? No.
First impression was I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the sacrifice. I didn't understand. I didn't have a point of reference. I didn't know anyone like her. which could be a mistake as an actor, because just because you don't know anyone like her doesn't mean she doesn't exist, right? Because you don't know everyone in the world, right?
Right.
And so that was my first thought, and then my other thought was, okay, if I don't understand her, then I really have to work hard, and which I had to. And then once I got her, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, the level of that love hit me like a ton of bricks.
What was the impetus for writing this? What made you say, I need to write about doubt?
I was, I went to a church school this is set in 1964, and it was a time on the cusp of great change. And when I wrote the play, I felt that I was in a time that was on the cusp of great change again. And I wrote this in the run-up to the Iraq War, and again, everybody around me seemed very certain, and the debates on television and stuff were all just people shouting each other down. Nobody seemed to be listening to each other, and anybody who paused and said, I'm not sure, was sort of considered to be weak. And I thought, but that hesitancy, that doubt, that's the hallmark of wisdom, or it always has been in the history of the race. And I wanted to dramatize the power and the passion that can go into being a person who entertains and holds on to doubts.
The theme of doubt, I think, is pretty important in our country right now. Do you think that the film is more relevant because of where we've been and where we're going and how much doubt there is?
That's a very big question for the last minute of this interview.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. What I love about this piece is that it says there is no simplicity in this kind of in human events, that people are very complicated and present all kinds of problems.
I think Shanley did an amazing job. I think his screen adaptation, and then what ultimately him and the producers and the editor and the cinematographer and everybody did, was just as important as seeing it live. So you can see it live, you can see the film, and I think you're going to get an impact that's as equivalent, and that's a rare thing.
Can we get you to come to Broadway? This is your second adaptation. Can we get you to come to Broadway, please?
Oh, yes. Well, I got one more to shovel out of the house, and when she graduates, maybe I could do that.